Hey guys, I have a couple of quick questions. I want to get your take on this. Okay, we learned in the recent interview, the January of 2020 interview, that a reputable group reached out to the family to help fight their claim that they were being harassed online. They reached out to the family after the August of 2019 interview, where the world was told that they had a dedicated group constantly reporting and trying to get back at channels, which evidently they viewed as harassing them. At the time, it was explained because people they knew were sending them links or comments, copies of comments of what they're seeing online. They would gather them up and then send them to the family for them to see them. That's how the harassment was explained at that time. They were being harassed because evidently people they knew were gathering up information that they saw online and sending it to them. And they very clearly said that they had a dedicated group constantly reporting and trying to get back at those channels. Well, after that interview, they're claiming now in their 2020 interview, their January of 2020 interview, that after the August of 2019 interview, this reputable group reached out to them to help. And what they do is they help fight online harassment by recruiting, quote, 200 to 300 volunteers who search social media to identify harassment and threats against the family, and then flag the comments for removal. Well, my first question is, who then was the dedicated group that we were told about in August of 2019? Because as you know, those of us discussing this case on social media have been getting attacked, harassed, threatened, libeled, slandered, defamed since early September of 2018. So that's my first question. Who was the group that was dedicated to constantly reporting and trying to get back at those channels? My next question is this. In August of 2019, we learned that harassment meant that people who they knew were sending them screenshots and links to videos and whatnot, evidently of content that they felt the family wouldn't like. That was, I believe, the definition of harassment at that point. Now we're being told a different definition of harassment. And I'll quote from a transcript that was posted on another channel. So if there are any words mixed up, I apologize. But this was presented on another channel as being the word spoken in the January 2020 interview that aired on Wednesday. Quote, "There have been all kinds of harassment against the family, including wild conspiracy theories, fantastic claims that persons other than Christopher Watts committed the murders that he confessed to, that others may have committed the murders, and there are even claims that Christopher Watts' wife harmed her own children." And then they said that this reputable group that extended their help has been working to help the family deal with this problem. So now we're learning that it looks like the definition of harassment is evidently what the viewer views as a wild conspiracy theory, or what the viewer views as a fantastic claim that persons other than Christopher Watts committed the murders that he confessed to. Evidently, harassment is when the viewer views a video where someone is saying that possibly others may have committed the murders, or when a viewer views content where the creator is saying, you know what, in my opinion, Christopher Watts may have been telling the truth in his police interview when he said that he did not murder his children. So evidently that's the new definition of harassment. It sounds like in August the definition of harassment was if somebody would take a copy of your video and send the link to the family, then you were somehow harassing the family when obviously you weren't. Okay, now the definition of harassment is that if you are discussing the case of Christopher Watts, and if you happen to believe that Christopher Watts was telling the truth in his police interview when he said he did not murder his children, evidently, because your opinion differs from the family's opinion, then you're committing harassment? I don't think so. Let me define harassment for you. Harassment is receiving a text message from North Carolina on October 8th, giving me 2 hours to remove my books from Amazon or else. Harassment is calling my children. Harassment is calling my employer. Harassment is calling my home repeatedly and hanging up and telling others to call my home phone number repeatedly and to hang up. Harassment is posting fake information about my family and me all over the internet. Harassment is making fake reports to YouTube claiming that I'm committing hate speech. Harassment? Harassment is posting a fake ad on Craigslist using my name and my phone number and offering phone sex. That's harassment. Harassment is encouraging channel creators who have created videos doxing me, harassing me, slandering me, and telling their viewers to contact my employer and naming my employer, and then showing up in the comment threads and calling me a sick fuck and telling the channel creator to keep right on going because we've got to get rid of her. She's a nasty old hag and we got to get rid of all of those nasty old women. That's harassment. That is inciting hatred and violence against innocent people. And let me tell you something else. Nicole Brown Simpson was murdered in 1994. And we're still talking about that case. Do you know why we're talking about that case? Because that case was the landmark case to promote awareness on the problem of domestic violence. And there are many of us of the opinion that the case of Christopher Watts is the landmark case to promote awareness on the issue of the battered male syndrome. We also believe that it is the landmark case to promote awareness on the issue of Munchausen by proxy, and we also believe that Christopher Watts may well have been telling the truth when he said in his police interview that he did not murder his children.